15 minutes with Uncle Russ. Did you get that? I maybe have to do it again. 15 minutes with Uncle Russ. One day, I'll probably get some professional people to do my little intro ditty. How you brothers and sisters? How you cool? Oh man, what a great weekend. I'm not, trust me, I could just be saying that because it's the right thing to say, but truly this has been an unbelievable week. Honestly, just, I don't even know what to say. Yes, I really don't know what to say. Had a great Sunday service, so many visitors. Oh my goodness. It was good to see people coming to worship the Lord, listen to His word, and hopefully follow through what they may have learned, regardless of how tiny it may have been. Yeah, so, okay, great news. So, we were looking for people to open their hearts to buy some tents for a certain community in a country that is out there. They were very, very desperate people, had their homes destroyed by fire. I want to tell you about the goodness of the God that we serve. Within 3 days, yes, 3 days, we were able to raise up that money. And not only could we just fulfill the extra 12 tents that were needed, there was even a bit more for perhaps an extra one or some little something nice for them on the side. Amen. So just a big shout out to all of those that got involved. I know you don't want to be named, so I'm not going to name you because I want to honor that. But really, the Father is so proud of you extending your hearts to people in need. And this isn't just some lame cause out there where we're going to hold a percentage or give the needy the percentage of what they really need and then pocket the rest. Yes, it happens. I'm telling you. I know. Who would think that, we do fundraisers for people and then they only get a little percentage and then we enrich ourselves. Ooh. Okay. So I got a little story again for us. This one, yes, I know you know. This is also one of Aesop's fables, and it's called The Heron. Can you see that? Hello? Yes, The Heron. So, I'm going to read the story to you, and then we'll have a little chinwag. A heron was walking sedately along the bank of a stream, his eyes on the clear water, because they're like zoop, zoop, they're like lasers, and his long neck and pointed bill ready to snap up a likely morsel for his breakfast. The clear water swarmed with fish, but Master Heron was hard to please that morning. "No small fry for me," he said. "Such scanty fare is not fit for a heron." Now a fine young perch swam near. "No, indeed," said the heron. "I wouldn't even trouble to open my beak for anything like that." Sounds so much like me. As the sun rose, the fish left the shallow water near the shore and swam below into the cool depths towards the middle. The heron saw no more fish, and very glad was he at last to breakfast on a tiny snail. Oh my gosh! Isn't that just like us? And while I was preparing, I was thinking, I don't know if any of you can remember your first bicycle or your first car or your first something, especially if you weren't flush for cash. Remember? So I'll use my story. So when I was a little kid, my father eventually scraped money together to buy me a size 16 bicycle. Yeah, so I would have been quite young. I don't know, 16-inch, small bicycle. It wasn't new. Hey, but it was my bicycle. Man. And then in my neighborhood, this guy's parents bought him a chopper bicycle. Ah. 3-speed with a proper gear shift and everything. You know, it had like this. The front wheel, I remember this, was smaller than the back wheel, and it had these high-rise handlebars and a long seat with like a backrest. So he would just sit there on his chopper bicycle and change gear first, second, and there was old Russell on his size 16 bicycle. And it's funny, suddenly you're not so happy with your bicycle anymore. However, I must add, I did make some revenue out of my bicycle. Sometimes it wasn't real cash, but when we were kids, you could get these annuals and Beano, and it was Lion and Tiger. It was like thick comic books. I don't know how to describe it, but again, only the wealthy kids' parents could afford that. But I had a bicycle. So what I used to do, work it out. Okay, so many times around the block, I can read so many of your comics. Entrepreneur, eh? Yes. So the same thing kind of applies when with your first motor car, you know, and it's okay now with all the modern cars, everything's computerized, and yeah. You can't even change oil yourself now, but back in the day, you would have what we would nickname a skadonk. You know, the seats will be a little bit worn out, and they wouldn't have mag wheels, they'd only have those plastic wheel covers, the imitation ones. And then I had a friend, bless him, he's passed on now, but Mario Tomei. He had a Datsun 1200 Bluebird. Yeah. And he wanted his car to sound like one of those souped up cars, you know, those really modified ones where you could just zoot along. You wouldn't believe what he did. I'm going to tell you. He took a screwdriver and a hammer and he knocked holes in the muffler, or what we would call the silence box. And we would go zipping up and down, up and down. He would go in his car, making these like more throaty sounds. But it was just holes in the muffler. And you know, the list goes on and on. We live in a certain suburb, but we always aspire to live in another suburb. We have a certain size house, but no. Got to get a bigger house. You know? I remember my first salary that I got when I worked for Telkom in South Africa. 75. The princely sum of 75 rands. Man, I went to town. I bought a proper pair of leather cowboy boots. A pair of Levi jeans. Was it Levi or Lee's? Could be Lee's. Yeah. A leather belt matching those boots, and what we call the blanket shirt. It was one of those check jobbies. Man, guess what? I even had change over, and I thought in my head, $75, that's a lot of money. You know, if I can earn 100 rand, I'll be in the pound seat. But you know, before I knew it, the 100 rand wasn't enough, and 1,000 wasn't enough, and it just, because we keep moving the goalposts. We're never content with what we have. Can we, I know you don't agree on everything I say, but can we at least agree on that truth? Contentment is not one of our strong characteristics. Eh? If you're like me and you're a little bit thin on the top, you wish you had thicker hair. Then some people have like really thick hair and they always complain, oh, you know, I don't know what to do with this hair. It's all over the place. If only my hair was a little bit thinner and more manageable. Or maybe, you know, if only my eyes, I mean, look at my eyes. I look Asian, eh? Yeah. I do. Look at these eyes. And that's not pretend eyes. Those eyes are really like that. They never used to be. They used to be like that. But now they're like that. So, if only my eyelids were more open, then I can be like a wide eye. Huh? And then, oh my goodness, my skin is so pale. I wish I had more tan skin. Like bronze, like a bronze bomb. And then others are saying, I don't like my dark skin. I want to be white. So then they put creams to make their skin lighter and all kinds of steroids and stuff onto their skin so their skins will be whiter and brighter. Then some are too skinny, so they go to the gym to put on weight, but there's the same amount of people inside the gym trying to lose weight. So that seems to be the problem, that we never content with what we have. And so the moral of young Aesop's story is this. I know I was getting to it. Sorry, I got a little bit carried away, as I often do. Do not be too hard to suit, or what you may have to be content with the worst or with nothing at all. If we continue in the vein that we do, it's like certain countries. How do you think empires started? Huh? Do you think suddenly there was one big empire? No. Maybe a leader or a king or somebody decided, my land's not big enough. So I'm going to impose my will and my power on my next door neighbor and steal his land. And to me it's always so funny. How can one flag determine that the land belongs to somebody else? The ship arrives at this strange land and everybody jumps off and they walk up to the hill and they plant a flag. I declare this land part of the blah blah empire. Name King, long live the king. And I think the locals are all sitting in the bush like they all are. I don't know what language they speak. I'm going to pretend they. Hey, I wonder what these guys are up to. Oh, look here. They put a stick in the ground with a piece of flappy something. I wonder what that means. And then next minute, they come along and they say, I tell you what, we're willing to negotiate with you and we will give you some shiny glass beads and, let me see. Lots of alcohol. Man, you got to try alcohol. Make you all crazy. And all you have to do is give us some land. No, correction. We want all your land. True story. So that's how it is. We work in a company, but we want the other person's position. We may be even involved within a community, a Christian community, and suddenly we want to be the worship leader or the pastor or the something. You know what I mean? We're never just content with our God-given gifts or what God bestows upon us. We always want that little bit more. So, Timothy, 1 Timothy 6:7-8, and this scripture is going to sound familiar because I'm going to read the other one, the reference that this one is made to. We brought nothing into this world, and it is certain we can carry nothing out. And having food and clothing, with these we shall be content. Are you and am I content with the fact that every day I get to even eat 3 meals? When there are people that are happy to have a morsel of bread, never mind 3 meals. Are we content with where we live? My apartment's so small. I wish my apartment was bigger. We only got 2 bedrooms or 3 bedrooms and only got 2 bathrooms and there's 4 of us. Now I have to share a bathroom with somebody. Listen, I know of a situation right now. In fact, I spoke about that tent community where 14 families had their homes destroyed. All it was makeshift tents in a garbage dump. Yes, while they were asleep, they had petrol, gasoline, fuel, whatever you want to call it, poured over that while they were asleep in those tents, and they were absolutely annihilated. Thank God they weren't injured. But because of the generosity of a few people that I chatted to, so 6 new ones are being built, and there's enough looty pooty to buy at least another 13. See, whatever the enemy meant for bad, God can turn it around to the good. Anywho, so 1 Timothy 6:6. Are you enjoying this? I know you're saying, oh, it's nearly your 15 minutes up. I tell you what, it's my 15 minutes, and if I want to extend it, you just have to be content with that. Eh? How's it? Don't growl, it's not nice. Now, godliness with contentment is great gain. Luke 12:15, this is a cool one. And he said to them, take heed and beware of covetousness, for one's life does not consist of the abundance of things he possesses. You know, we can have long-term goals. You know, I've got my 5-year plan, I've got my 10-year plan, I've got my 30-year plan. You know, there are countries that have a 100-year plan and a 50-year plan on how they're going to encroach and steal somebody's land. Yes, it's true. Yeah. And it's that country up there. See. Okay. Proverbs 16 verse 8. Better is a little with righteousness than vast revenues without justice. And then I'm going to read that scripture, because I remember I said to you earlier on the 1 Timothy, references to something that sounds just like it. And it's in Job chapter 1, verse 20 to verse 21. Then Job arose, tore his robe, and shaved his head, and fell to the ground, and worshipped. And he said, naked I came from my mother's womb, and naked I shall return there. The Lord gave, and the Lord has taken away. And here's the key. Blessed be the name of the Lord. Are we saying, blessed be the name of the Lord, when we lose our possessions, we lose our homes, we lose our motor vehicles, we maybe even lose the relationships with Him? It doesn't matter what it is that we lose. Are we still prepared to say what young Joby said, blessed be the name of the Lord? Or do we curse His name? Oh, you know, God, where were you in this? How could you let that happen to me? You know. And after all I've done for you, and look what you've allowed them to do to me. You said you love me. You're supposed to be a loving God. And we just rant and rave at the Creator of all things, our loving Father. Man, oh man. Did you like this week's story? It's a bit touchy, eh? But let us learn to be content. Doesn't matter what it is. You know, if supper tonight's just going to be a sandwich with peanut butter and jam, or many of you would say peanut butter and jelly. Now, I didn't know that jam was jelly, because for me, jelly is jelly. Or maybe you're having a big feast tonight, but it's still not enough. Let's learn to be content. Learn to be content with how we look, and I'm not saying, okay, don't hear what I'm not saying. I don't know, what's that saying? Don't hear what I'm saying, I don't hear what I'm not saying. You see, I mean, these things happen. I'm not saying we don't have to take care of our bodies and our appearance and, no, that's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying the things that we are given, the things that we are blessed with, there are people that don't even have that. If my mom's listening, she will remember. How's this? We lived in a place called Scott Street, down in the Gardens. And I went to a primary school called Marriott Brothers, Hatfield Street. But there were a lot of orphans that went to that school, and they would have to walk past my home on their way to the orphanage called Nazareth House. And so I would take it upon myself to give them haircuts and get them cleaned up and make them food. But, but it didn't always please my parents because I would basically use all the food that was meant for the family to feed them. And I remember one occasion, I just said, but Dad, they don't even have parents. I didn't know that then, even then, God was working in my heart to have empathy and sympathy for those that cannot take care for themselves. Sweet little story, but it's true. It is a true story. And later years, in a place in Johannesburg called Hillbrow, even in the state that I was in, and I was in a bad state, I would take food and clothing to the homeless people. Heaven knows why, but God knew. So, be encouraged, please be content, love your family, love each other, have some nice recreational time, but not too much recreational juices. Do everything in moderation, but let us be content with what God has given to us. Okay, find time to spend with the family. Don't forget to fellowship with each other, pray for each other, encourage one another. I want to tell you something. I sometimes think that I'm being so nice to people by telling them certain things, and yet when I walk away, if you look at their face, they didn't receive it well. So this is my thought. It's not what you say to people that matters, but it's how they feel after they've heard what you said. Huh? There, somebody's just telling me now, Natasha Evans, my dad and his twin grew up in Nazareth House in the 40s and the 50s. Yeah, and Natasha and me, this one has just sent the message. We could be family. Huh? How weird was that? Oh my goodness, in the 40s and the 50s, that's about around the... I don't even want to go down there because that's around about my dad's age. But he was at Savio. Yes, Savio. Okay, so now I'm going to say what I always say. If I don't see you through the week, I'll see you through the window. This is Uncle Ross signing off. Until next time, have a blessed week. Thank you so much for being ever so patient for me. Keep praying for me, and maybe one day you'll even like what I say. God bless, and goodbye. Until next time.